YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, and I am back in Total War Warhammer. Sorry, I had to tab out for just a second. I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about buff stacking on the Dwarf. So since the release of patch 4, I believe it was, the Dwarfs picked up some substantial buffs to their area of effect units, and they have some combinations which will allow them to field a lot more dangerous armies. And I'm just going to talk about this briefly here, and then we're going to jump in. Really specifically what I'm speaking to is Thorgrim, plus Runesmith, plus Master Engineer. And when you combine these three characters, you get a massive 16 melee attack from Thorgrim. And I can't remember all the leadership numbers, so it's actually... So, okay, yeah, 16 melee attack from Thorgrim, 12 weapon damage, 16 leadership, 8 charge bonus. The Engineer gives 12 weapon damage and minus 8 melee to enemy units that are close enough. The Runesmith is 8% armor piercing, 16 leadership, and 8 melee defense. And Regiment of Renown, the Longbeards, of course, they give 30 vigor every 30 seconds. That's this Grumbling Guard that's right here. So if you bring them in, that's another buff that you guys get. And yeah, it's insane. And then, oh, the Dragonback Slayers. These guys can slow down enemy units. You can see they imbue, they make things less resistant to flame damage. And then they can take away over a third of the speed of an enemy unit. So it's pretty impressive what you can do with these. And to demonstrate that, I had a viewer send me in some battles that I think you'll enjoy. I was going to actually show you this one just because it's against the vampire counts, and I figured this might be fun. He's been using a similar army in most of these replays. This one's a little bit different. It has a little bit more infantry than some of the first ones he did. He's coming up against the vampires. See the vampires there. That's interesting. Bringing a actual like vampires. This is kind of a weird army. The vampire player has spent way too much money on spellcasters. This vampire lady is a spellcaster, and she has spirit leech and all this other stuff. This necromancer has invocation in the heck, and it looks like a scroll of shielding. So a little bit of overkill here. And then Vlad von Karstein himself can be a spellcaster, and he is. He also has invocation in the heck. So that's kind of overkill. You're not gonna. I mean, this necromancer provides really no purpose. And the vampire lady, I mean, she does have spirit leech, but whether or not that's a good choice versus dwarfs who have magic resistance, that's questionable. So not the best vampire build, especially considering we have skeleton spearmen. But let's just see how this build fares against them. There's only 3 mainline dwarf infantry units. They're backed up though by 2 units of slayers, 1 regular, 1 dragonback, and then the grumbling guard. In case there had been, I'm guessing, in case there had been blood knights. Or crypt ghoul or crypt horrors. Jeez, how do I forget crypt horrors? These frontline dwarfs here with the great weapons and the iron breakers, they're going to cause a ton of damage. Yeah, they're going to easily start to shut down the vampire army. Vampire army goes in a straight-on attack. He's got grave guard coming in, but these are not the armor piercing variety. And the great weapons on these Longbeards are going to do very nice here. Crypt ghouls and a tithe zombie working around that flank. This grave guard and another crypt ghoul. The mortis engine's keeping its distance because of the skirmishers. And quite frankly, without any fast-moving units, it's going to be hard for the vampire to do much about this. Here comes Vlad von Karstein, though. No. Vlad turns back and gets into this fight. He's going to start getting peppered. The mortis engine comes up, but it's also getting peppered, taking severe damage to the rangers. It's going to help out a lot because these ooh, that wind of death. Holy crap, man. Vlad just shut down most of these rangers. Woo, that was nasty. 129 kills on Vlad because of that. I bet you're not Vlad that he came to this battle. Talk about lame, folks. Talk about lame. Yeah, you can see that most of this zombie army up front. Look at this, 62 kills on the Iron Breakers already. The Dragonback Slayers can come in to defend here, but Thorgrim comes over here. He's not going to want to fight Vlad, I don't think. Neither Vlad nor Thorgrim, though, has armor-piercing damage. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think Thorgrim's going to want to fight Vlad head-on. Maybe the magical attacks will help, but I don't see how it would, really. These Dragonback Slayers are just laying waste to the Crypt Ghouls. Crypt Ghouls are not armor-piercing, and even if they were, it wouldn't matter because the Slayers don't have any armor, but the Slayers just have such high attack, they're going to lay waste to the Crypt Ghouls. And the Crypt Ghouls have no armor to protect themselves with. The Iron Breakers in the center are just tanking it out. This vampire lady attacking them is not going to make one bit of difference. Those Iron Breakers are going to keep killing till the cows come home, if there were cows. Mortis Engine's taking some more shots, so it's going to have to keep moving. This Grumbling Guard over here is going to perform very well because it's in the presence of all these other units. And now Vlad is up against tons of different units. The Invocation into Heck is definitely helping him. But with the Rune Smith and all this other stuff around, I don't think this is going to go well over here for the vampires. It would be cool if the Dragonback Slayers could get a hold of this Mortis Engine, because they'd be able to slow it down and probably do a lot of damage to it, because of course it doesn't really have armor per se either. Just a token amount of armor. Let's see if these Slayers can hold up for very long against the Tithe Zombies and a Grave Guard. Probably not. Yeah, they're taking immense damage from all the vampires that are coming in, but they're racking up a few kills at the same time. This vampire lady is being pretty annoying here too. The Dwarfs are going to need to get rid of that Mortis Engine, because that's going to be their bane right now. The ability for it to just pull away hit points. You can see 10 at a time there. The Mortis Engine's just pulling hit points away. So definitely need to get rid of the Mortis Engine as soon as possible. And it looks like slowly but surely the Rangers are getting some work done on it. And as long as these Grumbling Guards stay alive too, it's going to be a huge benefit for the Dwarfs. Those Slayers ended up with 84 kills, so not great, but not too bad. Look at this, 187 kills on the Iron Breakers. Rune of Negation right now for the Dwarfs. The Mortis Engine's going to come in and try and take out these Rangers. Might as well. Ooh, but the Dragonback Slayer's being pulled over, and if they even touch that Mortis Engine, it's going to get slowed down to where it can't get away. And it did get touched, I think. Yeah, we'll see whether or not it can get away. If it goes back through its own infantry, that's going to be its safest retreat. But it's taking damage from the Rangers. That's unfortunate. These Dragonback Slayers are cut on Graveguard now, but they should be able to mop up a few Graveguard. Vlad's still very much alive, but look at this team up here by the Runesmith and Thorgrim, and here comes the Engineer as well. So the Vampiress, she's gonna die. She's gone. The Dwarfs don't have any problem slapping a woman, apparently. Look at this, 123 kills on the Grumbling Guard, and this Iron Breaker just beastly. 244 or 45 kills. Look at the stats there. 58 attack, 73 defense. The only thing that's not real impressive there is the weapon damage. But since there's not an anti-armor unit against them, these Iron Breakers are just going to clean house. Absolutely clean house. And then Thorgrim and them are going to tank this out. So like I said, not the best vampire army that he could have come up against here. But it's still a good demonstration of just how far the buffs can go here. Look at this. Vlad is just like unkillable until he runs out of replenishment. He just replenishes so fast. You got to know what Vlad is good for, though. He is mainly good against like enemy infantry. He's not armor piercing. So something to be aware of there. So that's really his main use. So just keep that in mind. Interesting battle, though, that this one's going to play. These Iron Breakers, 300 kills. 75 Dwarfs responsible for over 300 kills at this point. Vlad's going to give way now because he can't replenish. Yeah, he's going to die at this point, so it's pretty much over for the Vampire Counts. They're going to get wrapped up. What do you think of this build from WoW? I'll show you another one of his armies. But yeah, this is definitely an impressive amount of buffs that come from these units, and then combined with what the Regiment of Renown units can do, like the slowdown effect from the Dragonback and the vigor effect from the Grumbling Guard. It can give the Dwarfs a pretty significant buff to their strength and allow them to hang with factions in a way that they were certainly never able to do before this patch. Still don't think that they're a top-tier faction, per se, but they are definitely a much tougher faction now that they've received some of this. Just look at the kills there, man. 339 kills on the Iron Breakers. That is absolutely absurd in every way. Absolutely absurd. Let's check out one more replay. Let's see what else he sent us here. Bretonia could be an interesting one. And another Bretonia. So it looks like there's two Bretonias, a Greenskin, or an Let's look at Empire, because the Empire is definitely a bane for the Dwarfs. And let's see what this Empire player brings. So here he's got 6 Rangers, so against 4 Empire Cavalry. Ooh, that's going to be rough. Light wizard there for the Empire. So the Empire didn't go heavy on heroes. They just spent their money on decent infantry and lots of cavalry. So 2 Knights of the Poising Son. That's going to be a mess to deal with. And you can see with the number of skirmishers that the Empire player is just absolutely unconcerned. And just going to bring his cavalry right on in. Here comes the Knights of the Poising Son. These guys are definitely a pain in the butt for dwarves because their charge is so good. Going to be some nice buffs, though, on the dwarfs from the heroes that are around, but still, just look at these charges. Just going to be nasty charges. And then Empire Knights following up, and there's going to be the same thing over here. Look at these Dragonback Slayers here. Going to get charged in the back, so a nasty charge from the Knights. But, I mean, they're going to take some serious damage in return here. And then the Rune of Wrath and Ruin can do a lot of damage to these guys, too, from the Runesmith. So you can kind of see the overall position here. The Empire players swinging in their infantry. The crossbows are starting to open fire into the blobs. Swordsmen, great swords moving up, and then the handgunners and the light wizards moving up in the background as well. The cavalry probably attacked just a little bit early here, but it is taking some damage. Let's just take it out. I mean, normally this spell's doomed for the dwarfs. If they're not in a hard box, normally they can't protect themselves from all this cavalry. The Empire general is in here as well. So, like I said, this is typically a fight that's going to see the end of the dwarfs and other patches very, very quickly. There are some iron breakers in the center, and they are holding valiantly. But they are up against some tough odds. Got some longbeards with great weapons over here. And then you can see that the rangers and the heroes trying to fight off all the cavalry. And even the rangers here, look at this, 40 melee attack. 37 weapon strength. Comes the Grumbling Guard and the Dragonback Slayers, and they're going to do some pretty significant damage. The armor piercing of the Grumbling Guard, plus keeping all the other units fresh, and then the Dragonback Slayers with their anti-large and their slowing effects are going to really do a number on the Empire Cavalry, which has tried to cycle charge its way to some damage, but just really not having a substantial effect on the battle. Killing quite a few Rangers, but other units not so much. Now look at this net of Ammontok here, and then these handgunners back here in a good position. They can just fire towards this these netted troops, and they're going to get some nice damage done there. So the Empire able to pull out a nasty bag of tricks here. This is the extended effect duration too, and these can be frustrating whenever you're playing against the Empire. These nets last for so long. Definitely, probably the best. I don't know, this is definitely one of the most useful spells in the game. I don't know if it's the best, but it is very useful. You can see here just the damage that keeps being done while these guys are trapped in the nets. The skirmishers just firing away, and the light wizard just going to go unopposed here. The dwarfs don't have anything to get at him with. You got the iron breakers throwing their charges in this fight still. That was a pretty sweet entrance by the Empire General and the Griffin there. Love the cinematics in this game. This is going to be a very tight fight. A very tight fight. You can see that the dwarfs losing a ton of units back here. Definitely hard to fend off 4 cavalry units, but there's only 2 of them left. And then a lot of the Empire infantry over here on its last legs. The Iron Breakers, 66 kills. Grumbling Guards, 60 kills. 84 kills over here on those Longbeards with great weapons, so a pretty decent performance. It's going to be a rough finish for the dwarfs if they can finish it. Dragonback Slayer is helping to keep the Empire General on the ground, but he's going to be in pretty good health, and it's still not going to be too difficult for him to get away from dwarfs here. All the regrouped Rangers going to put some fire on him. Definitely going to do some nice damage, but he can pretty quickly charge down into them. And let's just kind of fast forward a little bit and see what happens. So as I fast forward, you're going to see the dwarfs doing everything they can to pick away at the General of the Empire, and the Empire Skirmisher is just a massive nuisance. Another net from the Empire player, and firing in here, doing a massive damage to the Master Engineer. And the Empire General still just being a complete, total nuisance on every level. Looks like the Dwarf player is trying to just ball up here and finish off some of the Empire infantry. Thorgrim there splitting some of the manlings into many pieces. That Master Engineer is a cool-looking unit. You don't see him in combat all that often, but he's a really cool-looking unit. Comes some charges in from the General of the Empire. He's going to do some pretty big damage to Thorgrim. And he's still got a healing potion, I believe. Yep. Nope, that was Foe Seeker. Maybe he doesn't have a healing potion. He might have used it. He's in rough shape. definitely in rough shape. These handgunners, though, 50 kills. And they are doing some pretty serious damage here, firing into these dwarf heroes. That General of the Empire, though. 3 minutes left. So let's just see what happens. Looks like the General of the Empire pushed back a net of Amantok this late in the battle. That's just immensely frustrating. Look at the handgunners here, just standing point blank. There was nothing these... Oh, look at that Ironbreaker satchel charge right there. That was beautiful.
We will kill them all!
The Rune Smith's going to chase after these guys. Wants to hammer their noggin there. And then the Light Wizard's helping to fight up against the Master Engineer here. Looks like the crossbows are still firing. Firing at these Dragonback Slayers. These guys are going to help out quite a lot here. But their health is extremely low. So there's not going to be a ton they can do here. This is going to be so close, this finish will be. I'm going to fast forward it just a little bit. Oh, maybe not. Look, here comes the General of the Empire. He's going to live. But his charge here is going to be a big nuisance to the Rune Smith. He's going to rout again. Rune Smith is holding his own, being shot point blank by some of these gunners. That was a pretty sweet kick there. Getting kicked by a dwarf. That was pretty sweet. So the Rune Smith doing his thing. Light Wizard being chased around back here. If the Master Engineer just shoots him, to be honest, he could get some pretty serious damage done that way. But he's going to have to worry about these crossbows. This is going to be a very tight finish for the dwarfs. But definitely a very possible finish for him because the Empire General is gone. And it looks like the Master Engineer may be finally about to fire. Yeah, he just fired through there. I don't know if he actually hit the Light Wizard. But his missile attack's pretty devastating there. 334 damage and it's armor piercing. So the Master Engineer is not a bad unit if he gets a chance to shoot at enemy heroes. He can do some pretty significant damage. So going to be a tight victory there for the dwarfs. What do you think of Wawaz's army here and the stacking for the dwarfs? Do you all have any armies that you like to use this with? Is there any different ways you like to use it? Do you think this is useful? Personally, I think it is. I think it makes the dwarfs not necessarily have to fight in a noob box every time. Now, obviously, in a noob box, this would be pretty significantly powerful too if you weren't going to get hit by enemy artillery. That would still leave you in pretty rough shape. Wonder if you could defend artillery, maybe, with this formation. I think there's a lot of interesting things you could potentially do because your Master Engineer could buff the artillery. So, I don't know. Just kind of curious to see your thoughts. Definitely appreciate him sending this in. I hope this was a helpful bit of information and would love to see some of your comments. I appreciate you all coming to view this. I hope you enjoyed it. It's always my pleasure to make it for you. I will see you soon. HeirofCarthage signing out.